Well, it seems like it's the summer of love all over again, with the Tesla protests heating up, getting more violent and more destructive. But do you want to know who's funding them? Stay tuned. Welcome back to the JP Reacts channel, my beautiful freedom-loving friend. This is where we call out lies, hypocrisy, corruption, and highlight the amazing work of other freedom fighters, because truth does indeed conquer. But you're never going to conquer anything unless you're strong. That's why I rely on grass-fed beef liver every single day. It's in my daily routine for a reason. With over 80 potent nutrients, I do believe that liver is the most nutrient-dense food on the planet. Makes my metabolism fast, energy high, and cravings for crap absolutely low. Grab yours at ancestralsupplements.com/JPReacts, and for 15% off, use discount code JPReacts. Well, it's not new news anymore that there's Tesla protests, the radical left. Oh my goodness, we gotta save the environment. Let's destroy that electric vehicle company and Elon, because that makes sense. They're getting more destructive, more violent. I've done a couple other videos covering different nuances of it. So while it seems to be heating up, kind of like things are getting desperate for the side that doesn't stand with truth, weird, there's new allegation from Elon himself, seemingly with the receipts, about who's funding the Tesla protests. Now, you might be sitting there thinking, well, funding a protest, like who funds protests? Like protesters go out exercising free speech as long as it doesn't stay too mostly peaceful. And they're just out there using their own free will, exercising their First Amendment right. Welcome to Democrats in America, ladies and gentlemen. May I just remind you that all the most meaningful protests have funding from one human to a company, to a company, to a company, to a company that gives the protesters money to be there. Yeah, we like shell companies in the protesting game. May I remind you of the George Floyd protests, brought to you by the Soros Foundation, amongst other things. So we know if there's funding going on in the protests, they try to hide the funding because they're standing for an important cause. I get a check? Yeah, I'll stand for that cause. The check's important to me. So who is allegedly funding the Tesla protests? Well, in part, the funding, according to Elon, is from Reid Hoffman. Yes, you heard that right, ladies and gentlemen. Reid Hoffman, who has association with Epstein. Elon's always on him about being on Epstein's island. More on that in just a minute. The same Reid Hoffman who funded political prosecution against President Trump. Why would he be so against President Trump and Elon, two people that are so intent on wanting the Epstein files legitimately released? I don't know. So Reid Hoffman, he's the founder of LinkedIn, been on Epstein's island, he's great, funds massive corrupt political persecution against Trump, and now, allegedly, according to Elon, Reid Hoffman is funding what have become very destructive, violent protests against Tesla. Now, it's one thing, like whatever, protest, even if it's stupid, that's your right, but when it comes to vandalism, destruction, firebombing Teslas, setting them on fire, and shooting up Tesla dealerships with guns, we realize that's not a protest anymore. That's terrorism. So Reid Hoffman, really? Well, take a look at Elon's tweet. Spoiler alert, Reid Hoffman denies it. Spoiler alert, someone on Twitter, Laura Loomer, shows proof that Reid Hoffman's denial is false. Here's Elon's original tweet. An investigation has found 5 Act Blue funded groups responsible for Tesla protests. We need groups, ladies and gentlemen. Act Blue, cool. That's kind of like a shell company. And then let's have shells of that shell company. So of course it's 5 different groups, because who's putting the money in? Reid Hoffman, allegedly, and others. They don't want one step of separation. They think 7 steps of separation. People are dumb enough, they'll never find out that I put the money in. So, an investigation has found 5 Act Blue funded groups responsible for Tesla protests. Troublemakers. How's that for a protesting group? Disruption Project, Rise and Resist, Indivisible Project, and Democratic Socialists of America. There we go. Act Blue founders include George Soros, Reid Hoffman, Herbert Sandler, a couple other people. Reid Hoffman, George Soros, those are the names to remember. They're kind of familiar at this point, aren't they? We'll get back to the video in just a second, but first, do you know if you are magnesium deficient? Because 4 out of 5 Americans are. And that's a big problem because magnesium is essential for over 600 biochemical reactions in your body. And today I want to tell you about the most common signs that could indicate that you are magnesium deficient. And listen carefully because at the end there's a special offer that could be exactly what you need. Here we go. Are you anxious or irritable? Do you suffer from insomnia? Do you experience muscle cramps or twitches? Do you have high blood pressure? Are you sometimes constipated? Now, there's many signs of magnesium deficiency, but these are just the most common ones. Now, here's what most people don't know. Taking just any magnesium supplement won't do the trick because most companies use the cheapest forms of magnesium out there that your body can't absorb and utilize. That's why I exclusively recommend Magnesium Breakthrough by Bioptimizers. It's the only magnesium supplement that uses all 7 essential forms of magnesium that your body needs, can absorb, and utilize. And all Bioptimizers supplements are best in class. They're so confident that they offer a 365-day money-back guarantee. For an exclusive offer, go to bioptimizers.com/JPReacts, and for 10% off at checkout, use discount code JPReacts10. And if you subscribe, not only will you receive amazing offers and free gifts, but you'll also ensure that your monthly supply is guaranteed. That's bioptimizers.com/JPReacts. Now back to the video. ActBlue is currently under investigation for allowing foreign and illegal donations and criminal violations of campaign finance regulations. This week, 7 ActBlue senior officials resigned, including the Associate General Counsel. If you know anything about this, please post in replies. Thanks, Elon. Now, we'll get to Reid Hoffman's reply to Elon's allegations that Reid Hoffman is funding the Tesla protests in just a second. But first, you got to set the stage for a little Epstein context. It'll make sense in a minute. So here's a 15-second clip of Elon on Joe Rogan claiming that Reid Hoffman will certainly be on Epstein's list. Take a look.
Stuff, it's so obvious.
Yes. Like known Epstein clients who are obviously extremely powerful politically and very wealthy are, Bill Gates, Bill Clinton, and Reid Hoffman.
How's that feel, Reid? Keep that in mind. It'll be relevant in a second. But first, here's Reid Hoffman's reply to Elon's accusatory tweet. Reid Hoffman tweets this: "Just one more of Elon's false claims about me." Of course, one more because of the Epstein one. "I never funded anyone for Tesla protests. I don't condone violence, but it's clear Americans are angry at him. It's easier to explain away their anger than to accept that actions have consequences." Okay, so that's Reid Hoffman's reply. That's exactly what an innocent man would say. And that's also exactly what a guilty man would say. Guilty people aren't like, yeah, I was on Epstein's island. I did fund these destructive protests. Yeah, I did that. So this is exactly what a guilty person and what a non-guilty person would say. But Reid Hoffman is denying the funding. Does the story stop there? Wham! When you bring the receipts that prove someone's lying, it kind of makes it hard to believe they're lying. So here's Laura Loomer on Twitter. Exclusive. Actually, Reid Hoffman, you are lying. I did some investigating myself and have the receipts to prove you are lying to Elon Musk. Upon my investigation, I discovered that Reid Hoffman, the founder of LinkedIn, and a Jeffrey Epstein associate, which you gotta throw this in, I like it, and a Jeffrey Epstein associate who visited Epstein Island numerous times, is a donor to the Hopewell Fund. IRS records from 2023 prove the Hopewell Fund has provided funding to the 1630 Fund. See this screenshot from the 1630 Fund's 2023 990 form below. Additionally, FEC records reveal that the remember, shell companies, George Soros, Reid Hoffman, they're not like, hey, protesters, here's money. It's, shell company, protester. This is shell company stuff. Additionally, FEC records reveal that 1630 Fund has contributed to Sunrise PAC, which is linked to the Sunrise Movement. Sunrise Movement, the same organization as I exposed yesterday, that is behind the violent protests at Tesla dealerships all across the nation. So Reid Hoffman would say, I didn't fund the Tesla protests. Reality would say, You fund the company that funds the company that funds the company that funds the company that funds the Tesla protest. That's how these things work. We gotta eliminate the paper trail by making the paper trail longer. Okay, see the Tesla takedown protest invitation from the Sunrise Movement NYC below for their violent March 8th, 2025 protest at the Tesla showroom in the Meatpacking District below. Yes, you did fund the anti-Tesla and anti-Musk protests at Elon's showrooms. And you can see the receipts here. Those are receipts. Very boring to look at. But the receipts don't really stop there. Here is another post from Laura Loomer. Here's a photo of a protester from the Sunrise Movement getting arrested outside of the Tesla showroom in NYC on Saturday. Sunrise Movement. Okay, is it actually illegal for Reid Hoffman to fund protesters? I doubt it. Is it illegal for him to fund them if they turn violent? I don't know. Is Reid Hoffman lying when he says, I don't fund Elon and Tesla protesters? It sure as poop appears to be so that he's lying. That's what this is about. Accusing someone of you're funding protesters, that doesn't necessarily mean you're accusing them of a crime, but it means you're accusing them of it, and then they deny it, and they turn out to be lying. Your shell game didn't work, because we have people like Laura Loomer who's like, well, okay, let me just follow the paper trail. Things like I've done with Facebook when they say we use independent fact checkers. 8 clicks, 8 frustrating clicks later to different websites, you find Facebook funds the independent fact checkers. And I know Mark Zuckerberg is pretending to change his way. That's a different story. But nonetheless, you follow the paper trail, you find truth. Reid Hoffman, the truth isn't found with you. But before we end, the plot thickens with hilarity once again. Remember Reid Hoffman's tweet saying, no, Elon, he's lying about me once again. Remember all that Epstein stuff? Packaging that in the container of lies, everybody? He's lying about me once again. I never funded this. So Elon, he reposted Reid Hoffman's tweet with this reply. Describe your favorite island vacation to Reid Hoffman. Obviously pointing at his association with Mr. Epstein. And I love the fact that Elon just owns Reid Hoffman here in the Twitter war. With that said, let me know what you think about the allegations and evidence of Reid Hoffman, notorious. We gotta stop Trump from getting in at all costs, because I might be exposed. Human being in the comments below. I look forward to seeing you in our next video, but until then, stay free.